So before we can start working with Go, we need to install a few things. And the first thing we need to install is Go itself. So you need to go to this URL, golang.org, and I'll post a link to this in the course resources for this page, and click on the big blue Download Go button. And you're going to choose the version appropriate for your operating system. So if you're on Windows, run this installer. If you're on a Mac, run this installer. And if you're on Linux, run this installer. If you're feeling really adventurous, you can install from source, but I don't recommend it. So for example, if you're on a Mac, you click this, it will download it. I already have it installed, so I'll cancel this. And it gives you the instructions down here. And of course, there's a different tab depending on your operating system. So run that installer. And once you have that installed, then you can fire up your terminal or open your command prompt on Windows and just type Go version. And it will tell you what version you have installed. So I have Go 116. All right, so that's the first step. The next thing you're going to want to do after you have Go installed is to go to this URL, code.visualstudio.com/download. And again, the link is on the course resources for this particular lecture. So download the version appropriate for your operating system and install it. And you're not quite done. Once you have it installed, you're going to start it up. So install it, pause the video, install it, then start up Visual Studio Code, and you'll see a screen like this. And there's a couple of things you're going to want to do. The first thing you're going to want to do is to install the necessary Go plugin. So we're going to go to the Extensions Marketplace, and it's right up here under Preferences, Extensions, and it's in a similar place on Windows. It's very easy to find. It's called the Extensions Marketplace. And if you don't want to search for the menu, on Windows you can hit Control-Shift-X. On a Mac you can hit Command-Shift-X. And you're going to search for the word Go. And the very first response will be Go. And as I record this, it's version 0.23.2. Click on that and you'll have an install button. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to uninstall it. So install Go, wait for that installation to complete, and you'll see a messages down here at the bottom of the screen. Once it's done, you're going to want to install all of the necessary extensions for Go. So this time we're going to bring up the command palette, which is Command-Shift-P on a Mac or Control-Shift-P on Windows. And what you want to search for, and type it exactly like this, is Go: install update tools. So choose that. And then click this little checkbox to check all of the extensions and click OK. And again, wait for it to install. So once that's finished installing, I always just restart Visual Studio Code just to be safe. But once that's done, we can actually make sure it actually works. So I'll pause the video, make sure everything's installed, restart Visual Studio Code, and then come back. And we'll actually write a little program just to see how everything works. Okay? So hopefully you have everything installed and you have Visual Studio Code running. And what we're going to do is open the Explorer. So click on this little icon in the top left-hand side. Click Open Folder. And we're going to create a new folder. And I'll put mine in a folder called Visual Studio Projects. I'll create a new folder called Hello World. You can create it wherever you want, but I'm going to remember where you save it. Click Open. We'll get the welcome screen again, which I'll close. And now I'm going to roll over Hello World here on the Explorer. And if you don't see the Explorer, just toggle it on or off as necessary, okay? Roll over this. Roll over the little icon that looks like a document with a plus sign on it called New File. Name your file main.go and start typing. So, very first thing we're going to write in here, and this is just a simple Hello World project, is package main. And then I'll write func main. And again, this is just to test how, to make sure everything is working the way that it's supposed to. Don't worry about the syntax. We'll get more of that as we get started on the actual course content. And just type fmt dot, and you'll notice how Visual Studio Code gives you autocomplete. I'm going to choose print line, because I want to print a line to the console. Print line, then parentheses, then quote marks, then hello world. Okay? Now, you'll notice when I actually chose print line, Visual Studio Code automatically imported something for me. And that is so helpful because you don't have to remember to go up and put the imports in there. That's why we installed all the extensions to Visual Studio Code. Now, just to make sure everything works, I'm going to run this program by going to the terminal menu, choosing New Terminal, and typing go run main.go. And it should print Hello World to the screen. And it does. So now you have everything set up and we can get started with the course content.